Yeah, it's the news we all dreaded, every single Newcastle fan. We all woke up today to find out that Saint Maximin and our Miggy Almiron are both out for what looks like up to a month. Panic stations, that was the first thing that came to mind for me. We are now without our front three, our first choice front three. We all know how much of a loss Wilson is. That's been proven the last couple of games with the chances that haven't been taken. He was responsible for something like just under 50% of our goals, I think, so far this season, which is a crazy stat. Now, our main attacking threat in Maximin, the guy who can bring everybody up the pitch and sort of do the impossible sometimes almost. And Miggy, who never stops running. He's just as useful for his defensive work sometimes as what he is his attacking. And he has been a lot better on the attacking front since Graham Jones has come in. I've been a bit of a critic of Almiron in his time at Newcastle, but he has looked a lot better. And me saying these things isn't helping the situation. But yes, they are out for all the fixtures in March. I think we only have 3 games this month. And then we'll see from there. I know players can recover a little bit faster. I saw a Callum Wilson Instagram post about how he's doing 3 sessions a week to try and get back as soon as possible. Come on, Callum. Get as much sleep. Go for as many naps in the daytime as you like. Jokes aside, it's a worrying time for us Newcastle fans. Again, I'm sick to my back teeth. I'm sure anyone watching this is as well. I've looked at the fixtures, and West Brom on Sunday is an absolutely huge game. I don't like football cliches, but West Brom is a 6-pointer. It's a massive, massive game. If there's any winnable fixture in this league, one of the first things that will roll off the tongue will be West Brom. Don't give a shit about Sam Allardyce. Yes, he's kept teams up, but it looks like he might be looking at his first relegation. Bless him. But yeah, it's a huge game, and it's a one we need to win. A draw's not good enough for us. A loss is disastrous. We have to put in a performance. Other fixtures further down the line, I think things get a little bit tougher after West Brom. We've got Brighton at the end of the month. That's another big game. But again, without our main attacking threat and depending on what other injuries crop up, because we seem to be the number one team in the Premier League for injuries, I think Brighton again is a very, very difficult game. It's a difficult place to go, and they play some good football. I think their biggest problem this season has just been taking chances when I've watched them play. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Potter plays a decent style of football over there. But looking further down the fixtures, when hopefully we might have players back, we've got Burnley away. Again, that's a winnable one you would look at. We've still got Sheffield United to play, the whipping boys of the Premier League this season, apart from us. Hopefully get something from them at home. Fulham on the last game of the season, well, that's got relegation decided written all over it, hasn't it? And we've been there before. I think we all remember what Aston Villa was like. Don't think we want to think back to those days, but you know, we've been here before and things aren't getting better. But I think the biggest concern for me about these 2 players being injured and finding this out today is that yes, we've got fringe players who can come in, the likes of Fraser, the likes of Murphy. He looked okay as an impact substitution on Saturday against Wolves. But we haven't been winning games with Almiron and Maximin in the team. So where does that leave things? We don't have our main striker, and with those 2 attacking players on either side of a front 3 playing, we haven't been picking up wins the last couple of weeks. So take them out, and suddenly I think every team, the likes of Fulham, the likes of West Brom on Sunday, are clapping their hands a little bit. We've got a manager in charge that I've got no faith in, and he has to now motivate these players who are, you know, let's face it, if you're Lascelles, if you're Dubravka, this news today about 2 of your main attackers being out injured, going into a relegation dogfight, your motivation's going to be shit. I don't care what anyone says. They're not going to be feeling great. Their main outballs, their main source of goals are all injured at the moment. So this is where we need our coach. I'll refrain from using the vegetable term for him today. This is where we need Steve Bruce to really step up. Whether it's Graham Jones, whether it's Steve Bruce, we don't really care. We need you to motivate these fringe players, the likes of Murphy, the likes of Gale, if he decides to finally bring him in, give him some game time, because he does know where the goal is, let's face it. He has to motivate these to get us out of this. And that starts on Sunday. And we really need to put in a performance. We need to fight for each other first and foremost. We need to stay organised. We need to be good with the ball. And we need to give West Brom as good as they give us. And they will, they'll give us a battle. It's a Sam Allardyce team. I don't like the bloke, but you know what you're getting when you play against a Sam Allardyce team. But we really need to set the standards from and I always seem to say this, set the standards from the first 10 to 15 minutes. It's important. If we let them have the ball and let them create a bit of havoc in our box in the first 10 minutes, their motivation goes up and we start to shit our pants, especially with the injuries we've got. We don't know what the Fulham result of the weekend is going to be. Let's keep our fingers, our toes and everything crossed that they don't pick up a result. They seem to be the draw specialists, which could be our saving grace in the end. But again, I'm not going to start second guessing that. But yeah, my biggest concern is that we are not winning games with them in the team. Who do you play? Well, I would go Gale. And again, I sound like a stuck record because I said that before the Wolves game that I would play him. And he looked dejected on the sideline. He needs to come in. He knows where the goal is. Joe Linton does not. Carroll is getting past it now. I think he put in one good performance against Arsenal, but he is getting past it. Get Gale in there. Fraser, that goes without saying. I think he's a sure thing. He will be starting the football match. Who he goes with there, let's be totally honest, he's going to go big. He's going to go Big Joey. He's undroppable. Steve Bruce has this tunnel vision with Joe Linton that a lot of us don't see. He sees a performance in there that baffles me a little bit. Yes, on Saturday you fell for him a little bit with the chance that was cleared off the line. If that goes in, we maybe win the match. Joe Linton steals the headlines and job's a good one. But generally speaking, if he plays up top on Saturday, where do you play him? I mean, if I was going to play him with Gale, I would play him just behind Gale. That's got to offer us something a little bit different. If I was to say Joe Linton's got any capabilities when he's in a Premier League environment on the field, it's got to be his aerial ability or just holding the ball up and slowing things down a little bit. So put him behind Gale, give him a bit of support, because Gale's not going to win anything in the air. Let's be totally honest. Yes, he might get on a cross into the box, but in terms of holding the ball up when we need to get out, he's not going to do very much. Murphy, well, yes, he had that weave and run on Saturday, set up Joe Linton. He seems to be okay as an impact substitution, but when he started games for us, he's looked pretty bang average. He's looked like a championship winger, in my opinion. So does he come into the fray? I don't know. Going a little bit further back, Shelvey, I thought he grafted a little bit harder on Saturday, but I mean, if you haven't read Shelvey's interview, I would certainly recommend it. He's done an interview with Charlie Austin last week for a betting company. If you just go on YouTube and type in Charlie Austin Shelvey interview, it's quite interesting. He talks about his work. He talks about the work rate of Leeds when they played them and how Rodrigo was running all over the field, and Shelvey stopped him and said, "Will you just slow down?" And Rodrigo said, "It's the boss. He needs us to play like this." And Shelvey openly admits on this podcast that he couldn't play for Leeds because he hasn't got that graft in him. He couldn't run around like that for a daft minute. And I think for a player to be coming out and saying that you couldn't play for a team because of how hard they've got to work, if that doesn't sum the bloke up, I don't know what does. But again, maybe tongue-in-cheek. But Shelvey needs to work harder. West Brom, they don't have the quality, but they are going to be here, there, everywhere. So, does Shelvey play? I would maybe try something different if I was Steve Bruce, but I think Shelvey will start. So, go for it, Brucey. Keep him in there. Dubravka made a mistake, saved us in injury time. He's going to get match sharp. I'm not going to focus too much on that because, let's be honest, with more game time becomes more sharpness. He's going to be fresher. He's going to get better with his distribution, with his saves, things you expect him to do, things you maybe don't expect him to do as he gets match fit. So I think he'll be in. The back four might pick itself with regards to injuries. But I think with regards to the injuries we've got, this could be the thing, and I hate to be negative, this could be the thing that decides our season. It really could. And that game on West Brom and against West Brom on Sunday, I'm already shitting my pants, and I'll openly admit that just thinking about it. I'm glad it's an early kick-off to get it out of the way rather than sitting around all day on Sunday waiting for it, because it's a huge game. Anyone who says otherwise, you are either very, very scarily confident or you are a fool. So fingers crossed, but let me know in the comments how you think we might get on with the injuries that we've received, the news today. Let me know who you would like to start against West Brom on Sunday, and any comments I do get, I'll be sure to include them in my match preview later in the week. Please like and subscribe, and catch us under Black and White Banter on Instagram and Facebook.